How do you know with absolute certainty that Bitcoin will always come back? In fact, any asset could be a great investment if you always know it's going to eventually go on and set a new all-time high. Now, almost no asset is like that other than Bitcoin. So why is Bitcoin special? Why can you trust that you can buy Bitcoin for 30% off its all-time high, for 30% discounted? That means it's down 30%. How do you know if you buy it when it's 30% down that it's not going to go down 50%, 60, 80, 90, 100 and go to zero, right? Numerous assets over time have gone to zero. General Motors, the biggest at the time car company in America, went to zero after the 2008 recession. Numerous companies over the years have gone bankrupt. Numerous technologies have not worked out. So how do you know? How do you know that Bitcoin always comes back and it's always eventually going to set a new all-time high? Well, the answer is Bitcoin is a different kind of asset. It's not a stock. It's not a precious metal. It's a different kind of assets because it's solving a different kind of problem, which is the core problem of money. Money is the biggest problem in economics to solve. If you can solve the problem of money, you can enable an advanced economy. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, we already solved the problem of money. We have the US dollar, we have the yen, the euro, the yuan, we have even precious metals like gold and silver. How have we not already solved the problem of money? Well, the problem is we live in an advanced economy where you need to be able to send value in the form of money across time and space. And the problem is that problem has not been solved. You see, gold and silver may preserve their value over time, meaning an ounce of gold today is likely to not lose a huge amount of value between now and 10 years from now. Although I think eventually Bitcoin will demonetize gold, so that's probably not the case anymore. But historically, prior to Bitcoin, you could trust that gold would store its value relatively well over time. But you can't send gold over space, meaning there's no way to put gold onto a telephone line or an internet cable and send it to the other side of the world. And that is the core problem with gold. The reason the world does not run on a gold standard is because you can't send it across space. So what can you send across space? Well, you can send the US dollar across space. If you jump through a bunch of hoops, you can wire money to the other side of the world. It's a royal pain. It'll probably get rejected multiple times before it goes through. But eventually, if you stay at it long enough, you can move money across the world with the US dollar. The problem is the US dollar lets you move value across space, but not time. Because humans control the amount of US dollars in circulation, the US dollar does not maintain its value over time. So you need something. We live in a modern economy. We're not going to go back to barter, meaning we're not going to go back to just swapping like eggs for a chicken house. And, we're not going to pay for our car with, I don't know, an entire farm's worth of, eggs and groceries and whatever else. Like, come on, we're not going backwards to barter. So we're going to use money. So what if there was a money that could preserve value across space and time? Meaning it had a fixed supply so that humans could not manipulate it and make it lose its value over time like the US dollar. But what if you could also send it over space like you can the US dollar? And if that technology existed, you would have the perfect money, a money that preserves its value across space and time. Well, happy to report, Bitcoin is exactly that. Bitcoin was built to solve the problem of money, to create a money for the first time in history that could be sent across space and across time. And Bitcoin solves that problem perfectly. So how does it do it? Well, first of all, there are only ever 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. So when you're selling a tenth of a Bitcoin, a hundredth of a Bitcoin, that is from a total pool of Bitcoin of 21 million, which is all there will ever be. So Bitcoin is the scarcest thing in the world because you can't make more of it. With gold and silver, if they get valuable enough, you can dig more of them out of the ground. With the US dollar, the Federal Reserve Board flips a switch and there's an extra trillion of them. And your value, the value of your dollar just went down because they flipped a switch. This happens in emerging economies all the time. Zimbabwe, Malawi, you wake up one morning and your money lost 50% of its value overnight. Because literally they devalued the currency overnight by 50%. I mean, this is a very common thing in Latin America, in Africa, all over the place. Bitcoin solves that because there's only 21 million and nobody can make more. And when I say nobody can make more, I mean nobody can make more than 21 million Bitcoin. And I've done a bunch of videos about why that is and why there's a fixed supply and why it's impossible for humans to come up with more than 21 million. I've done a bunch of those videos, so I'm not going to repeat that here. Okay, so Bitcoin also lets you send value over space. Because it's in electronic form, you can send Bitcoin over any communication network. That means you can send it over M-Pesa in Asia. You can send it over a dumb phone, like the old text message phones. You can send it easily with a smartphone. You can send it with a ham radio. Any form of electronic communication will let you transmit Bitcoin transactions, which allows you to move Bitcoin from one place to another, to pay for things, to store wealth, to transfer wealth, to buy real estate in the Caribbean, whatever you want to do. Bitcoin lets you do that in a perfect way, where you can instantly transfer Bitcoin anywhere in the world with instant settlement. Let me say that over. Bitcoin enables you to transmit value anywhere in the world with instant settlement. That means there's no chargebacks. You can't call a credit card company and say, hey, I already got the goods and services, but now I want you to reverse the charge. So Bitcoin enables you to pay people anywhere in the world. It is the only way that you can transmit money anywhere in the world on a Friday night or a Saturday night or a Sunday night. Most of the time, nights, weekends, you can't transmit money at all unless you want to do tiny amounts over Venmo or PayPal or Cash App or something like that. But if you want to transfer a lot of thousands of dollars anywhere in the world, Bitcoin is your only good option to do that. So Bitcoin always comes back because it is extremely valuable to be able to transmit and store value in a way that humans cannot make more, and that works anywhere in the world, and that you can store it super securely offline, meaning not connected to the internet, with something like Bitkey, Bitkey. The website is bitkey.world, bitkey.world. Bitkey is this amazing thing that holds your little Bitcoin key, and you can hold your Bitcoin offline where nobody in the world can get access to it, no hacker, no scammer, nobody will ever get to it. And if you want to transmit large amounts of Bitcoin, you touch this little device to the back of your phone. If you want to move around small amounts of Bitcoin, you don't have to. But if you want to move large amounts, you got to touch it to the back of your phone to confirm the transaction. And of course, hackers and scammers don't have the little Bitkey device, and so they can't do that. And if you lose the Bitkey device, you can go through a recovery process and restore your secret key to a new Bitkey device. And if you lose your phone, you can use your Bitkey device to restore the key to a new phone. In each case, there's lots of security protocols built in to make sure a hacker or a scammer or the government cannot do that instead of you. But if you have access to your keys, which is the whole point of having Bitcoin, is that you have sovereign control over your money, then you can store Bitcoin in a way that's super secure, which you can't do with gold. There is no good way for an individual to store large amounts of gold. There's just no good way. I mean, you put it in a safe at your house, the safe can get stolen. You put it in a safe deposit box at a bank. If the gold is there, again, you can put a Bitkey device at a safe deposit box at a bank, because if somebody breaks into your safe deposit box, there's nothing they can do with your Bitkey device. But if there's gold in your safe deposit box, they can literally take it and it's gone. So Bitcoin is superior money in every way. It is superior in all the ways that the US dollar falls short, because there's an infinite supply of them. And it is superior to gold in that you can send it over any communications network to the other side of the world in seconds. It settles instantly. You don't have to wait for somebody to load it on some cargo ship that takes 6 weeks to cross the Atlantic. You don't have to worry about any of that. You can transmit huge amounts of value, unlimited amounts of value, anywhere in the world, anytime, and it's absolutely incredible. And because that is such an incredible function, and because only about 5% of the world owns any Bitcoin at all right now, Bitcoin will always come back, and it will always set a new all-time high, because that function of a perfect money is so valuable. And because 95% of the world owns zero Bitcoin, you're guaranteed, as the other 95% of the world slowly adopts Bitcoin, that the demand for the additional adoption of Bitcoin will always eventually push the price higher. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to happen every day. Sometimes you can be below an all-time high for weeks, sometimes months. It used to be back in 2014, 2015, 2016, or 2019, 2018, 2019, 2020. Those things, you could go for multiple years where Bitcoin was trading below its all-time high. The whole time, though, Bitcoin is setting higher and higher and higher lows, and the aggregate value stored in the network keeps going up. So again, it may spike to a high, and then it falls back, and then it climbs, spikes to a new high, falls back, climbs. But if you zoom out, it's always climbing. It's got some spikes on top of that climbing, but underneath, it's always climbing. So humans are never going to not need money as long as we exist in the universe. And Bitcoin is the best form of money, the only form of money that has solved all of the deficiencies of gold and silver and all of the deficiencies of the US dollar. And it is the perfect form of money. And the only downside is it's hard to understand. It is such a complete, total paradigm shift for most people that adoption takes time. And the reason we don't have $1 million Bitcoin or $10 million Bitcoin or whatever the highest it's ever going to go is, the reason we don't have that right now is it's hard to understand. It takes time for people to understand Bitcoin. And once they do, they understand it's a superior money. And once they understand that, they start storing a higher and higher percent of their wealth and their money in Bitcoin until they're, like I am, 100% Bitcoin. 100% Bitcoin because it's 100% better than anything else I could be in. So Bitcoin is an amazing form of money. It is superior to the US dollar. It is superior to everything else. Over time, it will take over all other forms of money. It is just a matter of time until it does that. And until it does, you can buy it on sale at more than a 30% discount from the recent all-time high. So, same advice as always. Buy as much Bitcoin as you can. Hold on to it for as long as conceivably possible. Your future self will thank you that you did.